I'm going to record this part as ASMR for very little discernible reason. I just thought it would be kind of nice, and frankly I think at this point I want to go a little easier on my voice. Okay, so at this stage in the story, at this particular juncture, our brave, wondrous heroes are currently fighting Supersonic, Super Shadow, and the so-called Biohazard. It's an interesting name to be sure. So without further ado, let's continue, and I'll make some I'll make some mouth sounds along the way. Just pretend I'm sucking you off, unless you're of the female persuasion, in which case the sound doesn't really work. It's disgusting, just thoroughly degenerate. Anyway, what was it Jenny Nicholson said? It sounded like dry mouth or something. She's right, but you know, she's right about most things. Okay, so where was I? Lucario, jump high in the air and aim your lance at the subspace bomb, Chris commanded. Lucario nodded, and he jumped high above in the space, disappearing. After him! Supersonic ordered angrily, and he, along with Super Shadow, went after Lucario. But Chris laughed mysteriously. Was it the little, sort of little calming hand gestures? Calming hand gestures. It's alright. It's only a fan fiction. No one cares. Okay, so, so Chris laughed mysteriously. Chris is a fairly mysterious person in general, I'm sure you'll agree. Ha ha ha, they felt for it. They felt for it, they really felt for it. You know, that they had a lot of empathy. They felt for it, now attack the machine, he said, pointing at the subspace bomb. Sorry, pointing at the subspace bomb, like the band, the subspace. But what is it? One of those optical illusion things where it's like it's like text, but it's on different lines, and then on one of the lines it repeats a certain word, generally the, and your brain doesn't generally notice it unless you look really hard. I don't know. Okay, so he said, pointing at the subspace bomb. This do anything for you? Alright. Lene chirped happily again, and she flew right into the bomb, and she used many chocobo kicks on it. The Biohazard roared in pain again, and he aimed his mouth at Lene. Ha! Jigglypuff came from behind the head of the Biohazard with a rollout, and it landed, making the Biohazard to shook his head and recover his composture. But it was too late, because Mewtwo used his psychic powers to slam his head into his body several times, while Lene was still kicking the bomb. This does sound like a little bit of a recipe for disaster. I wouldn't be too overzealous with kicking that bomb. That could lead to the destruction of the Earth and kill all of you. But then again, I'm no expert on bomb disposal. I'm not exactly Jeremy Renner. It's working! Keep going! Tails said in the speaker. Lucario's here, Chris said when he saw the aura Pokemon coming from the emptiness of from the emptiness of the space, emptiness spelt wrong, and thrusted his lance in the machine on the back of the monster. Pitt took the opportunity to fire several arrows at the monster's head to stun him, while Popo and Nana were hitting the bomb with their hammers. Just making some happy little trees. Beautiful little mountain. We don't gonna beat the devil out of it, you know. They're beating the devil out of the bomb, in fact. Chaos control. Super Shadow came from above, slowing down the time around. Sorry, no, that makes sense actually, because he says slowing down the time around the colony. Only him and Supersonic were unaffected, and they rammed at everybody at high speed. Mewtwo was able to teleport just before they could even reach his body, and so did Lucario. But unfortunately for everyone else, except for Chris, because both hedgehogs thought it was a waste of time to kill him. Wow, get fucked, Chris. Received a lot of damage from Chaos Spears and Sonic Winds. Popo pushed Nana aside slowly from a Chaos Spear, and she landed on her butt. Landed where? On the floor, I imagine, watching Popo screaming in pain and fainting. Oh, that's lovely. That's sure to be relaxing for you. Hold on. Does blowing, is that a symptom of ASMR? Symptom, I don't know. Is that a trigger? Is that one of the? Sorry. Oh no! Shh. Sorry. I meant to be staying quiet, and that's what I shall continue to do. And I'm sorry. Okay. She landed on her butt, watching Popo screaming in pain and fainting. Now this next bit is a little unfortunate because although Nana is saying Popo with the O's stressed like that, it does look rather a lot like she's saying poo-poo. And while I do not consider myself to be the immature sort, I must note that this probably was not Original Chris this is probably not what he was aiming for at this supposedly very emotional moment for her. For her to suddenly yell "poo poo" as she's floating in space, it's quite distracting, really, and ultimately not very conducive to creating a strong emotional bond and a great deal of sympathy with the character. So I shall read it as was intended instead. Well, as was presumably intended. Perhaps he just wanted to mess around a little bit. He was having a lark, but I suspect not. Popo pushed Nana aside slowly from a Chaos Spear, and she landed on her butt, watching Popo screaming in pain and fainting. That's like the third time I've read that passage. Popo! She yelled. She slowly yelled. Sorry. Po. She slowly yelled, worried after seeing the blue ice climber unconscious. Folks, behind you.